If you've been feeling lost lately, unmotivated, disconnected, unsure of who you are, you're not broken. Your mind is shifting. Your identity is changing. And what feels like confusion may actually be the beginning of your next chapter. There are moments in life when everything feels blurry. You wake up, you move through your day, you do what you're supposed to do. But inside, something feels empty, disconnected, directionless. It's not depression, it's not laziness, it's not a lack of ambition. It's something deeper, something psychological. It's the quiet realization that the life you're living no longer matches the person you're becoming. And that feeling is called an identity crisis. Most people think an identity crisis is dramatic, a breakdown, a chaos, a collapse. But in reality, it's subtle. It sounds like, I don't know what I want anymore. I feel disconnected from my old self. I don't know who I'm supposed to be. Everything I used to care about feels distant. I want something more, but I don't know what. If this sounds familiar, you're not failing. You're evolving. And today we're going to explore the psychology behind feeling lost, why it happens, and how to break through it instead of sinking deeper into confusion. Let's begin. Truth 1. You feel lost because your old identity is dying. Identity is not fixed. It changes as you grow, suffer, learn, and experience life. But here's the problem. Your internal identity changes faster than your external life does. Your routines, relationships, habits, environment, they all belong to your old self. But inside, you no longer feel like that person. This creates something psychologists call identity lag, an internal shift with no external expression. You're not lost. You're transitioning from who you were to who you're becoming. The confusion you feel is the space between those two selves. Truth 2. You feel lost because you're living a life chosen by your past self. We don't choose our early beliefs. We inherit them from parents, from culture, from school, from early experiences. You learned who you were supposed to be long before you understood who you actually are. So you built a life around expectations, survival strategies, and borrowed definitions of success. But at some point, your deeper self wakes up and realizes, this life I'm living isn't mine. When that realization hits, you feel lost, not because you lack direction, but because you're outgrowing the direction you were given. The life that once fit you now feels too small. Truth 3. You feel lost because you never learned to hear yourself. School teaches you math. Work teaches you discipline. Life teaches you responsibility. But almost no one is taught how to listen to themselves. So you learn to listen to pressure, expectations, comparison, fear, other people's voices, but not your own. Feeling lost is often just this. You've ignored your inner voice for so long that now you can't recognize it. You're not lost. You're disconnected from yourself. Reconnection creates clarity. Truth 4. You feel lost because your values have changed. You are not the same person you were 5 years ago, or even 1 year ago. Your priorities shift. Your beliefs evolve. Your emotional needs change. Your definition of a meaningful life transforms. But here's the catch. Your habits rarely update themselves. So you keep living with outdated goals, outdated dreams, outdated friendships, outdated routines, outdated expectations. Your life is built on an old version of you. And the longer you stay there, the more disconnected you feel. Feeling lost is not a sign of weakness. It's a sign that your inner world has outgrown your outer world.
Truth 5. You feel lost because you're comparing yourself to others. Comparison is the thief of clarity. When you look at other people's lives, you accidentally borrow their direction. Someone else's success starts to look like your failure. Someone else's timeline starts to feel like your deadline. Someone else's path starts to overshadow your own. And slowly, your internal compass stops pointing inward and starts pointing outward. You lose your sense of direction because you replaced your inner voice with noise. Silence the noise, and you'll find clarity was there all along.
Truth 6. You feel lost because you fear choosing wrong. Modern psychology calls it analysis paralysis. The fear of making the wrong decision keeps you from making any decision at all. You don't move left. You don't move right. You don't move forward. You don't move backward. You freeze. Not because you don't know what you want, but because choosing means closing doors. It means committing. It means risking failure. It means admitting what you truly desire. And so, to avoid discomfort, you choose nothing. And nothing is the fastest path to feeling lost. Because directionless life creates directionless identity.
Truth 7. You feel lost because you're entering a new chapter. This is the truth that most people overlook. Feeling lost is not a sign you've gone wrong. It's a sign you're entering a new phase of life. Think about every major transition: childhood to adolescence, adolescence to adulthood, student to worker, single to partnered, dependent to independent, old self to new self. Every transition feels like confusion before it feels like clarity. You are not lost. You are in a new, unfamiliar chapter that you haven't learned to navigate yet. And that feeling is normal, even necessary.
So, how do you find yourself again? If your identity is shifting, if your values have changed, if you feel disconnected from your life, how do you regain direction? Not by forcing clarity, not by pushing yourself harder, not by rushing decisions. You find yourself by reconnecting with yourself. Here's how. Step 1. Stop trying to solve yourself. You are not a problem. You are a person in transition. When you feel lost, your first instinct is to panic. What's wrong with me? Why can't I figure this out? But nothing is wrong with you. Confusion is part of growth. Lostness is part of evolution. Instead of trying to fix yourself, learn to observe. What no longer feels right? What am I outgrowing? What drains me? What feels forced? What feels fake? Clarity doesn't appear when you force it. It appears when you stop pretending. Step 2. Reconnect with your core values. Feeling lost is often just a disconnect between your actions and your values. Ask yourself, right now, what matters to me more than anything? Not what used to matter, not what should matter, not what others expect. What matters now? Is it freedom, growth, peace, adventure, stability, authenticity, healing, achievement? Your values change as you change. When you identify them, your direction becomes obvious. Values are the compass. Action is the map.
Step 3. Remove the noise so you can hear yourself. You cannot find your inner voice in an environment filled with distraction. And distraction today comes in many forms: social media, expectations, pressure, comparison, people who drain you, habits that numb you. If you want clarity, you need moments of silence. Not necessarily literal silence,
but emotional silence. Less noise, less input, less stimulation. Because when the world becomes quieter, your inner voice becomes louder. And that voice knows the way. Step 4. Follow your curiosity, not your fear. You don't need a 5-year plan. You don't need to know the final destination. Just follow the small sparks of curiosity. Curiosity is the language of your future self. It pulls you toward the life you're meant to explore. Fear tries to keep you where you are. Curiosity tries to guide you forward. Whenever you feel stuck, ask, what tiny action feels interesting even if I'm not sure why? That small step creates movement, and movement creates clarity.
Step 5. Allow yourself to begin again. Most people stay lost because they're afraid to start over. They cling to an outdated identity. Who am I if I let this go? Who am I without this job, this role, this version of me? Who will I be if I admit that I've changed? But here is a quiet truth. You're allowed to become someone new. You're allowed to rewrite your story. You're allowed to outgrow old dreams. You're allowed to leave behind the life that no longer matches you. Beginning again is not failure. Beginning again is evolution. Every meaningful life requires many rebirths.
Step 6. Move even when you don't have all the answers. Clarity comes after action, not before. You don't need certainty. You don't need confidence. You don't need perfection. You need movement. Take one step, even a small one, especially a small one. Read the book. Take the class. Apply for the job. End the habit. Start the project. Leave the environment. Ask the question. Tell the truth. Try the thing that scares you just a little. When you move, life responds, and each small response reveals the path ahead of you.
Step 7. Accept that feeling lost is part of finding yourself. This is the final and most liberating truth. You are not supposed to know everything. You are not supposed to have it all figured out. You are not supposed to feel certain all the time. Feeling lost is not a detour. It's part of the path. It is the space where your old life dissolves and your new life begins. It is the silence before the transformation. It is the moment when the universe asks you to choose yourself. And when you do, even gently, even imperfectly, you become someone new. Not by force, not by pressure, but by honesty. You're not lost. You're becoming. And that is the most important journey of your life. Welcome to the next version of you. Welcome to Theater of Life.